Have you ever experienced that fear that arises from something greater, something unknown that you can't explain? Something that manifests as a disturbing dream that keeps you awake all night, or as a fleeting thought that suddenly overtakes you in moments of solitude when you're alone with yourself. Imagine for a moment that you are Carl Jung, one of the greatest thinkers and psychologists of the 20th century. A man who delved into the deepest recesses of the human mind, seeking to understand what makes us human, conscious, and unconscious. Now, think that someone tells you, "We've found recordings of Jung, but they don't want to publish them." Why? Because those words speak of life after death, touch on questions that scare us, that challenge everything we believe in. Have you ever wondered what awaits us beyond what we can see, touch, or understand today? I invite you to enter this story, to explore Jung's ideas, to embark on a journey that could change the way you see life and what awaits us after. But before we begin, I ask you for a favor. If you are passionate about deep topics like psychology, spirituality, and personal growth, click the subscribe button and activate the notification bell. That way, you won't miss the upcoming videos where we will continue to explore questions that touch the heart and mind. And then, leave me a comment below. Tell me which city you're listening from today, or write a word that, for you, represents the mystery of life. I'd love to get to know you better and understand what's on your mind. Ready? Let's go. Carl Jung was not just a psychologist. He was an explorer of the soul, a man who dedicated his life to understanding what makes us human, what connects us to something greater than ourselves. But there is a part of his story that few know, a dimension that can both scare us and make us reflect deeply. It is said that, towards the end of his life, Jung recorded thoughts and reflections on topics beyond traditional psychology. Life after death, the existence of the soul, the ultimate meaning of our presence on this earth. These recordings, according to some voices, were so powerful, so unsettling, that someone would have preferred to keep them hidden. But what was in those words that evoked so much fear? To understand this, we need to take a step back and get to know the man behind the myth. Jung was not an ordinary mystic. He was a scientist of the mind, a researcher who spent years studying dreams, myths, and religions from around the world. The more he explored, the more he realized that the human mind is not just a product of the brain, but conceals something deeper, something he called the collective unconscious, an immense ocean that connects all of us, a place where archetypes, universal symbols, and stories that span cultures and centuries reside. In this sea of symbols, Jung found clues that led him to ask himself, what if death is not the end? What if our life is only a part of a much larger journey? Do you remember a recent dream, perhaps one of those that leaves you with a sense of strangeness, as if you saw something important but couldn't understand what? Jung believed that dreams are messages not only from our personal unconscious, but from something greater, an unbreakable link with the eternal. In his later years, Jung reportedly experienced visions and almost mystical experiences. It is said that, gravely ill, he described seeing the earth from above, as if his consciousness detached from his body. He spoke of an intense light, a profound sense of peace, and a connection with something eternal. Have you ever felt something similar, perhaps in moments of crisis or extreme clarity? These moments led him to explore the idea of a life beyond death, not as a religious dogma, but as a psychological possibility. He was not trying to convince anyone, he simply wanted to understand. And this quest for understanding is what makes Jung so special. He doesn't tell you what to believe, but invites you to seek answers within yourself. Returning to his secret recordings, why would someone be afraid to share them? Perhaps because Jung's ideas challenged our way of seeing reality. Talking about life beyond death is not only a spiritual matter, it is a challenge to science, organized religion, and the certainties that give us security. Imagine being a scientist in the 1950s in a world still shaken by World War II. Science tries to rebuild certainties while psychology relies on rigid theories like Freud's, which see humans as a bundle of instincts and traumas. Then Jung arrives and says, what if our psyche is connected to something greater? What if death is just a passage, like moving from one dream to another? These ideas were revolutionary and dangerous because they questioned materialism and religious certainties. But Jung was not afraid of these questions. He embraced them. In his writings, such as Memories, Dreams, and Reflections, he describes that for him, death was not a final point, but a transformation. He used the image of a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. The caterpillar doesn't know what awaits it, but it already has the potential for something entirely new within. What if the same applies to us? If death is merely a door to another form of existence? I'm not asking you to believe in this idea, but to reflect. How many times do we let ourselves be blocked by the fear of the unknown? How often do we avoid thinking about death because it makes us feel vulnerable? Those recordings, those words that fear being revealed, may contain reflections on exactly this. We don't have concrete proof of the afterlife, at least not yet. But we know that Jung, towards the end of his life, often spoke of themes like the immortality of the soul, synchronicity, and the connection between the psyche and the universe. Synchronicity, for example, is a fascinating concept. When two events seem meaningfully connected without an apparent cause, like when you think of someone and, at that very moment, they call you. Jung believed these moments were signals of a deeper order that transcends time and space. What if death is part of this order? If it's another kind of synchronicity, a passage linking our earthly life to something greater? I don't want to persuade you of anything. I'm not asking you to believe blindly. The true value of Jung lies in the fact that he doesn't give pre-made answers. He invites you to explore, to be curious, to not fear the hardest questions. And perhaps for this reason, those recordings are frightening. Not because they talk about ghosts or otherworldly worlds, but because they force us to face the mystery. They make us ask ourselves, who am I really? What will I leave behind? We are almost at the end, but I want to leave you with a thought from Jung. Life is an experiment, and its meaning is discovered only by living it. It doesn't matter what you believe about life after death. What matters is what you do with the life you have today. Every day is an opportunity to get closer to who you truly are, to listen to that inner voice that guides you. And if those recordings, real or not, contain Jung's final reflections, perhaps they tell us exactly this: live fully, love deeply, and don't be afraid of what you don't know. Thank you for sharing this journey with me. If you enjoyed it, I ask for one last favor. Click the subscribe button and give a like to this video. It's a small gesture that helps us bring these topics to more people. And if you want, write in the comments what you think. Do you believe there's something beyond this life? Or do you want to share a dream that made you reflect? Remember, this discussion is important because it reminds us that life is precious and that every day we can choose to live it with courage and purpose. See you in the next video. Heartfelt thanks. Infinite return.